Hello, I'm Tariq Azim from Johnston Incorporated, and I will be presenting on the Construct 5.4. So let me start my presentation. All right, so let me go directly to the presentation. So the construct is to have an indicator that tracks the capacity of the National Information System to record and report maternal and newborn cause of death. And the indicator that has been proposed is the presence of national information systems or systems that are able to record and report data as described by ICD-PM. So what we will do is we will look at this construct piece by piece to get a full understanding of what this indicator is trying to describe. So this indicator has several slices, if you like. So there is this presence of a national information system or systems that is able to record and report data or ICD-PM data. And so we need clarification. We need to have good clarity on each of these slices. So for example, when we say presence of, is this a ad hoc initiative implementation, or is it really supported by a policy decision and government proclamation and is a systematic implementation of there is a systematic implementation of the indicator, of the information system. And then when we say national, is it only confined to public sector or is also collecting data from both public and private sectors? And then whether it's health facility based or both health facility community-based or only community-based. And then again, are we only thinking about Ministry of Health implemented information system or information system that captures ICD-PM data, which is implemented by other ministries as well, or it can be other ministry implementing the information system as well. And then whether we are talking about presence of a routine system, or we are also thinking to have a non-routine data collection system, which can still collect data on ICD-PM, for example, surveys. And then when we say it has the ability to record and report, which can be measured or which can be a reflection of the presence of standardized tools and that they are in use, or whether it's only an ad hoc system of reporting or even data collection. So those are kind of the things that we may need to have a good clarification or standardization, if you like, to say that there is an information system in the country which captures ICD-10 data, ICD-PM data. Similarly, it's not just enough to say that there is a system which is capturing ICD-PM. I mean, things can be implemented, the information system might be there, but you may not see the implementation of ICD-PM itself. For example, we need to have evidence that the ICD-PM is implemented in the country, that it has been introduced, staff has been trained, the definitions, guidelines, and tools are available. And so we can then say, yes, there is a system. So what I'm trying to say is that we have two options. One is just to say yes and no, that yeah, in the country there is a presence or no presence. But that's too simplistic and may not reflect the actual situation. And so we can go for a more like scoring system of scoring the health information system based on certain themes or domains. And those domains could be like policy and guidelines, systems capacity, and systems functionality. By doing this scoring, what we can get out of it is that we can standardize those scores and then use it for national level comparison or trend comparisons, for example. But also globally, we can look at where different countries stand in terms of the implementation of the presence of such information system that collects and reports ICDPM data. And in that way, such a scoring can provide pathway for countries to improve the system of recording and reporting ICDPM data. And this kind of approach for scoring health information systems is not a new one. We see WHO score matrix, which is one way of scoring the health information system. We also see the measure evaluations, health information system stages of continuous improvement is also using such scoring. And let me just give you a snapshot of how the WHO one looks like. This is just one component of it, of counting deaths and births and deaths and causes of death. And so you can see how it is scored as a 1 to 5 based on the capacity of implementation of certain indicators, and we can think of a similar approach for this particular indicator. And so in terms of measuring this construct, measuring this indicator, it could be just yes or no, or maybe score. And my preference obviously is to go for the score approach. And then how do you get the data? How do you collect the data? It could be qualitative or quantitative, but again, since we are using a score system, probably the data source could be more qualitative. Again, how do you collect that qualitative data? It could be based on asking stakeholders. So you ask multiple stakeholders, and for example, in case of all the other to measure tool or the WHO tool, you have stakeholders workshop where they come in groups and decide on the scores, and then later agree in larger groups. But you can also think of evidence-based, that you have clear documentation of all those different pieces of the construct that I already showed you. And in that sense, you may want to see evidence that data is collected. So you have like facility and community level registers. You know who is the cause of that, and it's filled. You may also have a system, evidence of a system that maternal and newborn death reviews are done, and you know that the system is in place and you are collecting evidence from there. Both have challenges. One big challenge is related to reliability of data. For example, if you're going for stakeholder analysis through stakeholders, stakeholders may have different each of them may come with different perception about all the constructs. But the beauty is that you don't just go to one stakeholder and just decide whether it's present or not present, but you bring together and they come to a consensus to say whether there is a presence or no presence, and what score to assign to that indicator. Documents can be more powerful in providing you a more evidence-based indicator or data, but it might be difficult to collect those documents and get hold of documents across the country and try to establish whether it's national or not national, whether it's ad hoc or not ad hoc, and so forth. There can be a combination of both these approaches, and so you can mitigate some of the weaknesses of each approach. For comparability, again, as I mentioned earlier, you need to have standardized definitions, data collection methods, and also how the data will be interpreted once you have collected the data and scored each of the country or understand that how to score them. So basic message here is that yes, you can have this indicator, which can give you good understanding of the status of a country's ability to collect ICD-PM data. But then you need to decide on the method, the unit of measurement, and the method of data collection and standardization of the definitions and how it's interpreted. And my preference or my recommendation is obviously to go for a scoring method with stakeholders, mostly with the stakeholders, but maybe supplemented by evidence, and so you can think of implementing that construct or that indicator. And this is not new. In fact, for example, we see presence of such a reporting system in Pakistan, but that's more of a pilot implementation. And so only during that time you may have found that there is a presence, but once the pilot is over, we don't know what's the current status, whether it has been implemented across the country or not. And so that's one of the challenges that I mentioned earlier. Now, on the other hand, in South Africa, this statistical report by Department of Home Affairs is doing this job. They are using ICT coding, but that's done manually later. And then a good thing is that they are publishing that report, so you have it, all the evidence that you need, you can gather it. The thing is that South Africa has a very good vital statistics system, which you might not find in every country, and so forth. So yeah, I think I can stop my presentation here. But as I said, you can think of implementing this indicator, but there needs to have very good clarity about what we are talking about. And also we should be cognizant of the challenges that this collection of this data for this indicator poses when you are doing it. Thank you very much.